Hi, I'm Keegan, and this is A Bunch of Gamers. This is our 98th episode of Werewolf the Apocalypse, 20th Anniversary Edition. Darkness of the Deep. I'm going to go around and have my players introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Sam. I play Cora. She's an Aruna in the Get of Fenris.
I'm Tyler, and I play Kyle, also known as Guards the Low. He's a Philodox of the Children of Gaia.
Hi, I'm Adam. I play Mark Guides the Fallen, and he's a Thurge of the Children of Gaia.
Hi, I'm Sean. I play Zeb Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers. He is a Theurge of the Silent Striders.
Hello, my name's Thomas. I play Dimitri Howls-In-Memory, Lupus Galliard of the Bone Gnawers.
Hi, my name is George. I am playing William Grows-Matrices. He is a Fostern Arun of the Glasswalkers.
Last time, the Pax continued the moot, learning about the news of the nation, hearing about a strange creature attacking Cleoth in Texas, the continued protection of the kin, and a strange spirit that seems to flutter in and out of existence down in Arizona. The Pax decided to follow the Arizona thread. After finishing up some last-minute business to try and help out the kin before they left, the Pax have launched off. The Pax now enter the Sept of the Desert Snow, longtime ally to the Sept of the Sacred Stone. You all exit the moon bridge with Mistwalker as you are greeted by a tall, young Native American woman with a third eye planted in her forehead. As she looks over you all, looks to Mistwalker, and says, "These are the ones that you were able to bring?" Mistwalker nods. "Very well. Welcome to the Sept of Desert Snow. We are located here on Mount Baldy in the Fort Apache Reservation. Mistwalker has told you the situation?"
I'm Speaks-in-Sweet-Whispers. This is my pack, the Ill Omens. This is the other pack for Maurice Bane. I'll let their alpha introduce them. But my pack mates here are Howls-In-Memory and William Grows-Matrices. We've heard some about this creature that Mistwalker relayed. We wanted to know if there were any other things to hear about it or experiences folks have had with it recently. Just to know a little more. A lot of it guessing, of course.
The best option, I would say, several have combated this creature, and that includes Ariana Serpent Strike and the Warder, Jacob Mage Killer. Several have told stories around the hearth as well, and the fires, and Heather Endless Memory is said to have heard and relayed some of those stories as well. Be kind to her. She is but a Cleoth, but as the Master of Howl, she has had to learn much in her short time with the nation. If you are looking for spiritual matters, Venom Fang will tell you what they think. You can find them over in the wilderness. They usually march down the mountains and enter the fields, especially now with the current situation. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being rude. My name is Words of Granite, Fostern Galliard of Older Brother.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Mark Guides the Fallen, Thurge.
I'm Cora Two-Hearts, Arun of the Get of Fenris.
And I'm Kyle, Guards the Low, Philodox of the Children of Gaia.
Oh, Children of Gaia. Interesting.
Oh?
We've just heard stories of your tribe. We have been here. We've had more dealings with Shadow Lords and Black Furies given our relative proximity to Texas and Nevada, where those two tribes have a bit more sway. But we've also heard stories from Sacred Stone. That's all.
Well, hopefully mostly good, and if not, then we'll do our best to improve them.
She smiles. Very well. Anyway, if you wish to enter the bond, please do. Be mindful to not wander too far. There are campgrounds several miles to the south, east of us. So be wary of your four-legged form, especially since you don't have the blood in you.
The blood?
There is a very small population of red wolves here. They are the ones common to this area. And all of the lupus and most of the metis have the blood in them. Thus, their four-leg form doesn't raise any eyebrows when apes come sniffing around and need to be chased off, or at least led away.
Good precautions. Well, I think a good start for the Thurges, Speaks with Sweet-Whispers, and I would possibly go speak with Venom Fang. Perhaps there's a... Considering this entails a Bane, maybe there's a spiritual matter that needs to be dealt with.
Like we're going to speak with most of the folks here. That's definitely a start, though, I agree. And the water will probably be close to the top of my list, too. But again, we have 4 names. There's plenty of time we can take. We should find out all that we can, of course.
Mistwalker, is there anything you want to elaborate on?
I have some additional theories on the spirit, and I did not wish to be laughed out of your moot. I've heard legends that spirits that have yet to be born sometimes create shadowy images of sorts, and to some degree, given the state of the world, what if this Bane is an apocalypse spirit, corrupted even before its very birth?
So you mean beyond just the end, so there could be a new beginning? This spirit would already be infected by the worm, and its destruction the same as the corrupted worm ever was.
Yes, that is what I'm thinking. Bleak, I know.
We've seen the world out there. I don't think that's anything to laugh at, truthfully. It sounds as likely as anything else, especially since it hasn't been killed yet.
Could Mark make hit that intelligence occult roll to maybe give this theory some credence?
Sure. Intelligence occult, difficulty will go with 8.
It's a plausible theory. With enough faith, with enough belief, spirits could manifest and take shape and form.
So, within this theory, if it's already corrupted before it's been born, would that mean that there would never be an apocalypse spirit? It would just be a Bane forever?
That is a good question. I don't know the answers. I'm not a Thurge. Though I have dabbled in the theories of the spiritual and the metaphysics. The question then becomes, because it is born corrupt, is it cleansable with the rite of cleansing, given that it was never truly corrupted into something else, but born as something corrupt? I think that is an age-old question that's been a discussion of Thurges for some time. The question of, if you took a Bane and performed enough rites or found a secret and powerful enough rite to uncorrupt it, would it become a spirit of the original balance worm? I don't have an answer for that.
But that does lead into my next question, which was whether the rite of cleansing had been performed or not. Perhaps maybe we should try it.
Perhaps. I don't believe it has, but that's because the rite takes so long and the creature is powerful. Make no mistake, the creature has a strange power about it, and we've had to rotate warriors in the fight. When those who fight it get close to it for too long, they begin to feel headaches, and they find it difficult to focus.
Almost sounds like a Nexus crawler.
I would disagree with that. I've fought a Nexus Crawler. A Nexus Crawler warps reality, and while their form is repugnant and can certainly twist the stomach, it's not quite the same. It's a ear-splitting headache that starts as a quick fuzz near the back of the mind before it claws forward and becomes a nearly insufferable pain at the front of one's skull before trying to remember things becomes difficult and the immediate past becomes fuzzy before you get far enough away from the creature to cleanse yourself from its presence a few hundred feet away, your mind clears, the headache clears, and by the time you are ready to fight again, those that have taken your place suffer the same symptoms. One that tried to push through eventually passed out, and they had to be dragged away. But once they were dragged away after several minutes, they were able to recover.
This could be symptom of just the disruption of the gauntlet that's been spoken of. Are there any stories of creatures caught in between the physical and the Umbra within the gauntlet itself?
I have heard of no such stories myself. Can I get a perception empathy? Diff 7. Telling the truth.
I don't know about anyone else, but I am certainly interested about something that exists across infinite time that has the ability to maybe muddle our own thoughts and challenge where we are in the Tellurian. Excited and terrified, but still excited. I think it's going to be worthwhile to talk to a few people that had this encounter, because I think a big part of what you said was very important, Mr. Walker, and that was the headache, thoughts being jumbled, trying to fortify ourselves in a moment. If indeed your idea is as plausible as anything else, I haven't met a Garou yet that could span all of time and correct something in an instant. Otherwise, perhaps apocalypse would have already been averted and balance restored. I have a question when it comes to Venom Fang. I'm assuming they are a Red Talon here.
You would be incorrect in your assumption.
No. Okay.
All the Garou here are of older brother.
Okay. Got it. Good to know.
Venom Fang took their name to honor the totem spirit of this Karen during their first change. We serve the almighty rattlesnake.
Very good.
Well, I guess the question is, how do we go about this? Separate groups to separate people to gather information, or go as one wave?
You and I can go out there and talk to Venom Fang. If anyone else wants to come, fine. That sounds great. But again, for Mage Killer, Endless Memory, and then Serpent Strike, clearly all of them are worth talking to. Okay? Very well. Venom Fang first, and then I consider we think about the water, and we'll be good. At least in my opinion.
One final question for you, Mistwalker. What about the spirit in particular makes you think apocalypse?
Just the horrific nature of it. It looks twisted, mangled. Its skin is both slick and dry at the same time. It is an image of horrors. It has an elongated set of jaws with varying sized teeth. Occasionally, eyes will open along its body, and along the back of it, its torn, fleshy torso moves along, though it almost appears to carry a kind of umbilical cord. And from the umbilical cord, it looks like the masses writhe and reach out screaming. And of course, legends claim that the gauntlet and the veil shatter during the apocalypse, and this creature eats away and dissolves the very gauntlet, poisoning it, which makes me think it's a corrupt version of the apocalypse. That the knowledge of truth will harm those who see it.
Thank you. That was very enlightening.
And truly horrifying.
I'm still happy to be here. I think we should go talk to that Theurge first, and then we'll go and we'll speak to the water. Those are at least the top two on my list, and then we can work our way from there, unless any of you have any suggestions. I'd like to get to it, because I really want to see this thing.
My interest is piqued as well.
Let's stay together for it, then.
So you guys hike for about 3 hours before you get to the bottom of the mountain, away from the cairn, as you see a group of wolves. As one turns to look at you with a sense of knowing, it's a beautiful, sleek wolf with a thinner body than most and slightly longer legs, with patterns of slightly darkish gray along the back, the ears, and the eyes, and then a beautiful rusty brown patched with small hairs of white, with white underbelly and white paws, and deeply knowing amber eyes approaching you.
Shift to Lupus.
You shift to Lupus, and the wolf growls, "Not here. Too close to apes. the wolf concentrates and shifts up into a Native American person. They have shoulder-length hair with several braids, as well as a close-cropped beard, standing in fairly plain clothing, mostly seeming to be of wool. You are visitors to the Sept.
We are. We heard of a thing that comes in the night and attacks. We come to help and deal with this creature.
I see. The creature is odd. Some have been whispering that it is an apocalypse spirit already turned to the worm, but I am not so certain.
Where do your doubts lie?
Nothing about it is inherently apocalyptic, though it is inherently corrupt. When we think of the apocalypse, there are certain actions, certain attributes, whether the world freezes due to the cold uncaringness of apathy, or, in the case, thanks to you Hamids, burn away due to the cold unfeeling of your apathy. Earthquakes, or great winds, the shattering of things, but the creature doesn't shatter what it touches, it only corrupts it. There are certain aspects that I've heard about the umbilical that I've seen with the screaming multitudes, but that does not seem inherently apocalyptic to me. Once again, it seems like a corruption to revel in the suffering, even if it is the suffering of Hamids.
So what theory do you hold with then?
I hold no theory as of now. I think it is a powerful Bane, perhaps one that has escaped being trapped, but that its prison has weakened its body, though there are some difficulties in me believing that as well, given that it returns after being destroyed so quickly. Perhaps it is a creature that corrupts with its touch. We have seen the tracks of other spirits. Though those spirits are gone, perhaps it corrupts spirits and turns them into monsters, and the true mastermind is still waiting to be discovered.
Have there been any stories of other corrupted spirits?
Many spirits have been corrupted throughout the ages. I'm sure you've seen them, given that I assume you've walked in cities and seen the rust spiders.
I mean recently.
The rust spiders.
I think what my friend here is trying to ask is, with the recent sighting of this new Bane that you think, has there been an increase of other Bane spirit presence?
Some, yes, but I attribute that to Zoltan oil and gas.
Literal fuel to the fire.
They've been poking around the kinfolk lands. We were going to try and deal with them until this came up. Perhaps a coincidence, perhaps not. But this wouldn't be the first set of Hamids who have made pacts with corruption to make more paper.
This company, has there been any digging?
That we are not sure. It's difficult for me to understand. Some of the two-leg members of the Sept might be better suited to answer your question, as they talked about things such as exploratory talks and legality and legal loopholes and things of that nature. Things that I don't quite understand.
Regardless, you've given us much information on what you do understand. Thank you.
I will do what I can. Perhaps we will see each other again on the Karen grounds, though I walk with kin for a bit. They sometimes travel too close to the cages of prey.
Mark will kind of have a quick side towards Zeb and say, I guess as they're like walking off towards the next person, Venom Fang spoke of suffering in a dig. Maybe this is a Bane spirit that's been feeding off suffering of other spirits?
I mean, apathy's pretty stinking strong, so is greed. But it's like they said, it's been destroyed a few times, unless it's somehow transferring itself. Again, the time part intrigues me, if indeed it's something that hasn't been and now is. William, this might be a realm for you to research when we get back and we're not baking in this canyon. Some more information about the activities that are taking place with these companies and the digging that they're doing. I think you might be able to give a lot more clarity as to some of their practices here that might reveal something, or at least turn off the possibility that it's just the standard corrupting humans doing bad things, creating Banes and letting them in.
Yeah, that does sound like my area of specialty. As soon as I get more information on the companies that are digging and trying to buy out the government and working through those legal loopholes, I'll do some research on that and work through the network.
Glad you're here, friend.
After about another 3 hours of fun old hiking, probably 3.5 because it's uphill this time, you guys get back towards the Bawn of the Cairn. Several wolves hanging about, as well as several in their Hamid forms, doing various tasks. You notice the Keeper of the Land, of course, cleaning up, doing things like that, them moving bones around and actually burying them with wood chips so that the remains of the kill can decompose properly, as well as leaving meat out for the ravens.
What time is it, Keegan?
We're going to say you guys left at 9 a.m. plus 6 hours. So it's 3 p.m.
Okay.
I suppose our next step is to seek out the warder and see what they know.
I think so. We'll work our way toward sundown and darkness, then go take what we know and find this thing. Maybe.
All right. You find Mage Killer. He is moving some flesh over to the pile as the ravens are coming in and feeding. He takes a deep breath as he looks at you. Also, of course, a Native American man, short-cropped, almost shaved head, in very utilitarian-style clothes, with various well-placed pockets and things like that for various items, as well as a clave hanging to his side. Can I help you?
Hello, Mage Killer. Mistwalker brought us here from Sacred Stone to investigate and Kyle will put up his fingers and do air quotes, the Bane that is being dealt with.
That Bane has been quite a thorn. It doesn't come regularly, for one thing, which has been infuriating, as I'm sure you can imagine.
Does it tend to walk the same paths?
It always seems to come from the northwest. That is where it comes from. Beyond that, we're not sure, which is why the Wormfoe and the Right Master seem to think it might be coming from the caves in that direction.
Does the older brother have any history with these caves?
Not to my recollection, though I know that kin have been in this area for quite some time, and it is not unlikely that we've been in the area, though if there was a cairn there that we controlled, it has long been either set to be dormant or destroyed.
Is there any current human activity that you know of in those caves?
Not in the caves, no. I know that about 5 to 10 miles from that area, Zoltan Oil has been doing some exploratory drilling and excavation.
We asked Venom Fang the same question, and I'd like to ask you too. Is there any correlation with the arrival of Zoltan gas and the appearance of this spirit, this Bane?
Not quite. Zoltan's been in and out of this area for years, if not decades. It seems that our single-minded focus to keep Endron off these lands has left us open for another human company to take its place. What I can say is that the creature did show up once, at least in our verbal histories, about a decade ago. It was destroyed, and thus no one thought anything of it. I'm no Galliard, but I'd be curious if other stories of older brother have it appearing even later than that. Regardless, Zoltan moved in and started working the lands and using legal loopholes on our sovereignty to do exploratory digging and excavation surveys for natural gas in this area. And that happened about 5 years ago. They've been all over the reservation doing this. Then about 6 months ago, the thing appeared again. Then about 4 months ago, Zoltan showed up. 3 months ago, the spirit appeared again, and it would appear monthly, and now it has been appearing sporadically, sometimes days apart, sometimes only a few weeks. We think it might have made things worse, but we don't believe they are responsible.
When's the last time it appeared?
3 days ago.
How far southeast have you allowed it to travel, I suppose?
We've prevented it from entering the Bon, but it has crossed near kinfolk farms and residencies.
When we first heard about this, the destination wasn't clear. Was it heading here? To the cairn?
Sometimes it seems to head this way, other times it seems to just be wandering, and the only reason we are able to catch it is some of our kin get a glimpse beyond the gauntlet and see it.
So it's only been witnessed in the Umbra.
Correct. It is not manifested into the physical world.
Does it appear during a certain time of day?
Only at night.
Only at night.
And if not slain, it just disappears with the rising of Helios?
We don't know. We don't let it get that far. Nor would we like to take that risk. The gauntlet's already weak on this Karen. This creature makes the gauntlet so much weaker. I'd be afraid to see what happens when the gauntlet is dissolved by corruption. What if nothing's left and it creates a wormhole, allowing Banes to manifest in the physical realm?
Do you believe you found it each time it's appeared?
We believe so, yes. We can't be certain, but we are fairly certain. We have now started to place fetches of sorts, summoning spirits to try and comb the area. We also try and gain favor with our winged companions and friends, eyes in the sky.
So, out of character, when you kill a spirit in the Umbra, does it leave behind a body?
They usually disappear and become what's called dormant, but dormancy usually lasts centuries, if not decades.
So if it's killed, then you wouldn't necessarily have any proof of it.
Yeah. And there's also the chance that, like, if you do certain things, like if you cleanse the ground around it and things like that, like if it was a Bane, after it's been knocked out, in that way, that is a way to almost guarantee its true destruction.
In the last 10 years, have there been any spirits known to the cairn that have disappeared?
I'm afraid you'd have to ask the Galliards for that one, or possibly the Thurges. But it's very possible. Human activity here has done much harm to many animal spirits, and as the animal populations weaken in this realm, several spirits end up in the lands of flux and give their oath to Griffin, as their physical kin have vanished forever.
It seems the more answers we get, the more questions arise.
We won't take any more from your duties. I think we should go and speak to Endless Memory next.
You'll have to... I would suggest traveling in the Umbra, if that is what you will be doing. She's over at White River, which is, well, about 20 miles southwest of here. She's visiting kin.
Is Serpent Strike still here? We were only given names. We don't...
Serpent Strike is still here. They're on the other side of the mountain. It's a bit of a hike, but they are enjoying some hunting grounds.
More hiking.
Before we leave, we can talk to Words of Granite again, and perhaps they will have more recollections of stories about this based off of the story you told us from 10 years ago. A start before we take the long walk.
And so you seek Words of Granite. She is hanging about. She is in her lupus form as you see the three-eyed wolf turn and look at you.
We're hoping you can recall some stories of Actena lore concerning the appearances of this spirit. We've heard it appeared maybe 10 years ago, and maybe there were other times since, or at least one like it.
Yes, there was a spirit of similar description, she says, shifting into her Hamid form. But the spirit didn't cause the same nausea, I suppose, the same headaches. That was a more recent development. That might be a case for the spirit getting stronger, though. I recall a story of the many-jawed hunter from about 2 centuries back. It was by Leaps Through Skies. They spoke of it using Bane arrows, using the wings of their gifts to fly them over the creature and strike it with many fetishes before it collapsed. And there are other stories of monsters that roamed. One of a strange Fomori, where several of older brother faced it in the physical, but a wise third passed into the shadow and saw that the Bane possessing it was still not fully within the body of the Fomor. And so the third performed a rite of cleansing, and the creature leaped out and disappeared. They claimed that they claimed its body collapsed and vanished, and it was marked with the body of a rabbit spirit.
So it could be corrupting and using other spirits that are around here, based off the tracks that I've seen. I don't expect you to have an answer. This is the hypothesis for my comrades here as we go and try to help confront this thing.
And that hypothesis has been stated by others as well.
Yeah. I have no original thought here.
I believe Rattles the Gauntlet also came up with a similar theory.
Some of the other names we have are awful far away, friends. Either we go and get a look at this thing maybe for ourselves this evening, or we can try to take that trip. I am interested in the company. I'll tell you what I think, and then we can discuss it. One is, as ever, a company dug too far, unearthed something they shouldn't have, something that was maybe bound away for a very long time and forgotten. And now it reaches out, at least partially allowed to escape. 2, something evil and terrible is corrupting spirits around here and using them to its own devices, so killing one doesn't kill the rest. 3, other terrible thing that exists across time. Other than William maybe getting more information and us continuing to talk to folks, I'm at a loss of what to do other than see it for ourselves.
I think whatever information we get from the other Garou would just be other tiny tidbits added, other small details to add to the mystery, pretty much. More answers leading to more questions. I think it'd be best, definitely, if we saw this thing firsthand. Maybe we could get information from one of the crow or raven spirits, if they want to give us the information.
I think the best place to start if we want to see this spirit in person would be to investigate the caves. Maybe something was trapped and it's reaching out somehow and corrupting other spirits and so on.
Keegan, what direction were the other 2 Garou in?
So the closest one would be a small hike about directly to the northeast, and the one visiting kin is about 20 miles to the southwest in the town of White River.
I'll admit I'm very interested in the perception that the Cleoth had, particularly because it would be untainted with experience. Nothing to say, oh, this isn't possible, or we've never seen anything like it, just what they saw.
I think it would be prudent to speak with Heather as well, for similar reasons, because like when we were Cleoth, we thought the sky was the limit, in terms of what could happen around us. We weren't aware of that could never happen.
And if we go to the Cleoth last, it sounds like we could possibly just head north from there and hit the caves.
Fair enough. Cross over to the Umbra and head to them, speak to Heather, and and then make our way to the caves, since we can only see this thing in the Umbra anyway, and it's a heck of a long journey to be walking. I'm assuming that 20-minute journey is the Umbral journey, not the above-land hitchhiking journey.
I said 20 mile.
20 miles, I'm sorry, 20 miles.
20 miles is the hitchhike, or is the as the crow flies.
As the crow flies journey. Yeah, okay. We want to make our way there, friends. We can get our cardio in, and by then it'll be it'll be well past dark, and it'll appear. Maybe.
Remember to hydrate.
Yep. All right. So, traveling in the Umbra, I assume you're going to be going in lupus form?
Or fly?
Or fly, yeah. You can fly.
Fly, you fools!
Fly.
You can fly, and you can fly at Krynos speed. So I think, Zeb, you have the lowest dexterity, right?
I have the lowest dexterity. That is affirmative.
What is your dexterity?
In Krynos?
Yes.
Thank God. 4.
4. Perfect.
Hey. All right, I had to spend my points the way I spent my points. Thank you very much. Don't harsh my physical stats. Those straight 2s carried me a long way.
Oof.
If you decide to go for walking speed, then you will not have to make any rolls to make sure. If you go with the jogging speed, then you'll have to make 1 stamina roll at diff 6, and if you go with the running speed, you'll have to go with a diff 8 roll, and if you fail those rolls, you will take 1 point of bashing damage that you cannot regenerate until you rest. So what speed would you boys like to go at?
To jog or run? Zeb will take damage all day long, baby. Appearance 1. You can only go to 0.
I would say run for me, but
okay. So you guys are gonna go as fast as the slowest person.
All right. Okay. Just you want me to just do the dex? It's basing off movement and make our checks.
I'm making
dex, athletics.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Okay.
So don't worry. So I'm figuring out your speed miles per hour.
Gotcha.
So you're flying at about 11 miles per hour, so you get there in 2 hours.
Nice.
But I do need those stamina rolls now. Diff 8.
Straight stam?
Yep, diff 8.
Yeah.
Nice.
Alright. So you all make it. You're still deeply out of breath as you take a few to collect yourselves. As you're in the Umbra, you'll have to find a reflective surface and pass over. This is a small rural town, so it would be diff 6 to pass the gauntlet. You do find a reflective surface.
You want me to make the roll?
Alright, so you all pass over instantaneously. As you are in the city, you've been given an address of the kin that Endless Memory is staying with. You've been informed that they are callow, however, so you will have to play it cool.
I think the least terrifying among us, Kyle and William, unless anyone else would like to nominate themselves as not being terrifying or a hideously disfigured man. Just making sure.
No.
Although Howls-In-Memory, Dimitri, perhaps you could be the face of the Enterprise for us too.
One last piece of info is Endless Memory is 16, and the cover story is that she is at a private charter school.
Fish out of water trope, what? Excellent.
Sounds like a job for Mark.
You anime intro.
That's right. You're no longer 6 rage. Excellent.
Also,
Yes.
Also,
and I am 18. Woo!
I think Dimitri has the most baby face still.
I believe so.
I'll watch after Cora.
I think 2 of you can go and handle this. The rest of us will just take a little walk and not be leering at a bunch of students.
So, yeah.
All right, so Zeb is 100% not going. Who else is not going?
Mark's not going.
All right, not going.
Cora's 9 rage is not going.
All right, so there's 3 non-creepers.
Kyle is probably not. He looks older. Like, he is one of the oldest of this pack and has a beard. And
all right, so William with the most connection to actual real society and the most charismatic among us Who? Dimitri. All right, so those are the two. Those are our guys.
I guess, yeah. I'm in a
or-
rune with like.
That's, you know what? That's fair. Or just one. So then it's just gonna be Dimitri, and keep it simple. Yeah.
Here it is. I am the chauffeur for Dimitri, so I can answer questions as possible for the tech, but I'm not there.
Sounds
All
good
right,
to me.
fine. Just find them. Say, look, we got questions about crazy stuff you've seen, and keep it short so we don't get arrested.
So, Dimitri, William, you approach the door.
Actually, before we do this, how are we going to talk our way through this?
All right.
I'm sorry, I'm just drawing a blank.
So the kin being callow means that congratulations, you had a kid that happens to be a werewolf. You don't know shit about Werewolf Nation. So, yeah, why are you talking to my kid? Oh.
Um.
How old does Dimitri look?
Oh,
Dimitri, you're what? You're like 6 now?
yeah.
All right, which means he probably
Or
looks
7.
like 7. Well, because he changed. His first change was probably when he was 5 or 6, and he would look like 15 or so. So he probably looks like 17, 18. He definitely looks like a young teenager, or a teenager, I should say.
All right.
Could probably come up with a cover story of like, hey, I forgot to talk about the science project we have due tomorrow. Just want to make sure we've got all of our bases covered or something like that.
Didn't have your email, but somebody said where you lived. Hey,
Yeah.
Fine.
Maybe do whenever you're due back, like first day back or something.
What?
Like not due tomorrow, but due whenever she's supposed to go back to charter school, whatever that day is.
Oh, because it's the holidays. You're right.
Right, like
yeah.
she's visiting, so like she doesn't
it's
have
January.
school tomorrow.
Oh, shit. Jesus Christ, William, could you just find her phone number and see if you could just kind of text her?
Oh, that's super easy. I can do that.
Hacker man.
All right, intelligence computer, please.
I'm really glad we made this 2-hour journey for him to use a phone. Gaia preserve us that I've recommended
Here I
this course of
thought-
action.
Here, I thought we were gonna have ourselves a teenage werewolf spin, but no.
It takes about an hour worth of going through yellow pages of the area, finding the parents' names, going through that way, finding her social media profiles, finding that her social media profiles are on lockdown, so you have to go through several other places till you find a social media profile she created when she was 13 that wasn't fully on lockdown, that has a phone number associated with it.
Alright, guys. Well, took longer than expected, but I got her phone number.
I'd say we keep it simple because there's a better way to say not the name of the camp.
Her charter school is fake, so...
Well, her charter school is fake? Oh, okay. Okay, so we could just say that.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's a werewolf front.
Okay, so that's simple enough. Just, this is Dimitri from charter school. I'm in the area to talk to you. Can I come by the house? And you'd always send a picture of himself so she knows who the heck he is. But we'll wait for her to respond. And you could even say someone that she knows there gave the number, so it's not the creepiest thing that's ever happened. We just send like a recording of him howling, and that's what she gets, this fucking playback.
That's actually great. Like, that's a great idea. Who's gonna figure out what that means? No one.
So can I get just a straight intelligence academics or a straight intelligence science from anyone who has it? You have to have at least 1 dot.
I
I
will do
do.
that. You said intelligence academics or intelligence science?
Both. Either or.
What's the
Oh, okay.
diff?
Same thing.
Diff 6. You both, so you 3 put together, red wolves are common in this area. So howls, or not common, but red wolves are known to be in this area.
Oh shit.
Red wolves can howl. Garou can understand howls.
Everyone, erase the primal urge off your character sheet.
Just.
That's, hey, you know. At least no one got arrested.
Fair.
Oh, we could have just howled at her this whole time.
Her being 16 really just threw everyone off.
It really did.
She's Cleoth.
Like, oh,
Like you all forgot Cleoth are young. Like every last one of you. Like, she's a Cleoth. She's easily got to be 18. Cora said, being 15 when she became Garou.
Yeah. They've easily got to be 30, said the child soldier. Yeah.
This is.
All right, so, well, go ahead and howl then.
What are you going to howl exactly?
Phone number.
You can howl a phone number, but because there are no numbers in the wolf language, you're going to have to do it based off nature things, which I'm not going to force you to make up. You just have to roll intelligence primal urge to come up with them.
Just say we need to talk to you about the thing you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just gonna howl and say, hey, I'll say I'm Howls-In-Memory of the ill omens. I came from the Sept of the Sacred Stone. Me and my pack and some friends of ours are here to investigate this Bane, and we would like to ask you some questions.
All right. She has no way of responding. She can't howl back. She's in her house. Do you want to give her your location to find you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my I don't know, just not thinking 100% straight today.
This is what Town Hall said. We were all disconnected with regular human life very clearly.
Yeah, right?
I think it's just the hour of seriousness that we just went through, and now we're just on this this slalom of freaking. Wait, what's happening?
This is what happens when you just want to go talk to people, man. That's hard shit to do. The hardest thing we're gonna do tonight is talk to somebody.
God, it's like a Good Place episode. Steven understood? Well, this is a real low moment. real low point.
Stand this reference.
So, anyway, you guys have to wait about 3 hours, not sure if she found you, until she finally appears and goes, so what do you guys need to know? Let's make it quick.
What do you think you saw, and what do you think it is?
I couldn't tell you what I think it is, but it was just horrifying. It was just, how do you put this? Do you know when you go into frenzy, that feeling that washes over you, everything becomes red, and it's just a complete loss of control?
We nod. Yes.
It's like watching that on an abomination. It radiates this gleeful hatred and violence. And when you get close, I just had this horrid headache. I don't know if it was stealing my rage or what. I didn't feel my rage draining, but it just became so hard to focus. And the rage, if anything, is a focus of violence, but even that I found difficult. I don't know, it seems like it's connected to something. And it goes around it. You can't smell it's just there.
I know you said you couldn't think necessarily clearly and maybe couldn't remember. How long did it take for you to gain clarity back?
After I stepped away, it took me maybe during the fight 20 minutes or so. That's about how long it takes for the headaches to really set in and the fuzziness.
And could you speak? Could you growl?
Yeah, I could speak, I could growl. It's just difficult to focus. I mean, others got it definitely worse. I mean, Wanders Through the Desert, he got really into it when it got very close to the Bond, and he fought the thing for what was probably like an hour before We noticed that he was starting to sway. He actually had trouble standing up, as if it was zapping his very strength.
Did you notice maybe if it was a different effect on the auspices, like depending on how much, like...
No, it was the same for all of us.
I guess my question is, depending on how potent your rage is, how long it took to get that headache set in.
I don't think so. Wanders Through the Desert is Ragabosh. And others who were there just as long, they would have the same thing sort of happen. It happens at roughly the same speed. There might be some variety after of just a few minutes.
Could you tell how long you were fighting, or did you just finish and were suddenly fatigued?
I couldn't keep track of the time exactly. Definitely several minutes. The creature's strong. It's got a lot of essence. And it's difficult to strike. Sometimes my claws passed through it and nothing happened. As if it was trying to disappear again. But, like I said, maybe 20, maybe 30 minutes fighting. Us rotating out since the thing's so powerful.
Does it speak or make noises?
It growls, it roars. It has a kind of cunning. And it seems like the last few times it's become more cunning, but it seems to revel in violence. Maybe it's an avatar of the Beast of War?
Is it a kind of growl that you've heard before?
Just a monstrous shriek.
Do you have the ability to understand the speech of spirits?
I do. It's a fairly common gift for older brother.
So strange that it doesn't speak.
If it speaks, it seems to only be screaming with joy for violence and combat.
We were told by Mistwalker that it wasn't until they initiated combat that its focus then shifted to them. It would attack spirits, but as far as fighting the Garou, they saw it, they went after it, then it turned it.
On that note, does it ignore Garou initially every time it reappears? Or is it remembering, oh, you guys attacked me last time?
It doesn't attack until a Garou attacks it. It's as if it doesn't see us until we attack it. And once we attack it, all Garou are fair game, not just the one who attacked it.
Have you fought this more than once?
Twice now. That's how I got my
And you
first
said it
battle
was-
scar. She lifts up and shows like this horrid scar across her belly.
Congratulations. You think the second fight was worse than the first, that it learned then? You think it became more cunning because it learned the way Garou fight?
I don't think that's it. We used similar tactics, but it seemed to figure out the tactics faster, or changed its behavior in how it fought initially to where those tactics just didn't work because it fought more intelligently.
Does it look the exact same every time? Like the two times that you fought it, did it look exactly the same, or did it have differences?
Oh, that's a hard question, because I wasn't paying that much attention. The greater shape of it is definitely the same. Were there minor differences? There could have been. But that's not something I could tell you, because I was too busy, combating the worm.
Fair.
Do you see it first, or hear it, or smell it? How do you know it's near?
Either hearing or seeing, because the thing either crashes through the forest or is brutalizing other spirits.
Do the spirits call out like they know what it is, or just in fear to run?
Just in fear to run.
Is there anything besides Garou that it seems to have ignored?
If it had, it's nothing we've noticed. I think it ignores people too. To be fair, it's on the other side of the gauntlet, but it walks through neighborhoods and ranches as if they're not even there on the other side of the gauntlet.
This is a silly question. Is there anything that you thought of at afterward that maybe wasn't in your mind or you hadn't considered at the time of fighting it? Something that you took away from it that was kind of important, or that you felt was important that maybe nobody talked about?
The dizziness of it, and that after the fight, that it just creates this kind of the fuzziness in memory is one thing, but you do notice that you start to get dizzy, and no one really seems to focus on that. It's so consistent, but its pattern, its movement is both consistent and inconsistent. It's so strange. I think that it's, well, just looking at spirits, it just comes across as so primeval to me. Like it's distilled or original, whatever that means. Is that a weird thing to say?
In this case, I don't think anything's too weird to say.
Good. Mark, make an intelligence occult roll for primeval spirits.
That'll be a diff 9.
It's like a corrupted aspect of the wild, the way it's described. Something that can change and evolve and exist chaotically, maybe doesn't care, but consumed by that type of hate.
Nothing comes to mind. At least nothing outside the general. Primeval spirits tend to be in Pangea. That primeval spirits are just powerful. Different.
Actually, you said something interesting before. You said it tried to disappear at one point.
Kind of, yeah. Just that when you strike it, its body seemed to just vanish around my claws and reappear. Or we'd attack it and its body was more translucent. When it was more translucent, we seemed to get closer and our claws would actually have to move in closer to actually damage it. As if the outer part of its body wasn't there anymore.
At any point does it try to leave combat?
No. Once
Ever.
Once it's engaged, it seems to just revel in it.
Does its appearance change when it fades back and forth?
It has a shadowy body within it. That shadowy body changes, but it's but mostly in size because it's almost an amorphous blob of solid inside a gas. Like it's Jupiter, and whatever that part is the molten core, and the outside is the gas giant. Briefly. And then when it springs back, it becomes like a well of gravity that's going to hurt you.
So it lashes out when it attacks. It isn't like a bite.
It'll bite, it'll lash its umbilical cord, it'll claw at you. At one point, someone struck at it, and the flesh ripped open, and the flesh was actually a mouth, and it bit off the Garou's arm, and he had to spend a couple days regenerating it back. And she pulls out her phone and she says, "Hey, we gotta wrap this up." I said that I was in the bathroom, taking a bath, so...
One more question from me, then. When it phases out like that, do you think it's purposeful or a thing that is just happening to it?
I think it's just a thing that happens to it.
Well, that's all I can think of as far as questions go.
Thank you very much for your time. We'll let you get back to your parents.
Sure. Go through and go back through the bathroom mirror.
Hopefully we didn't cause you too much trouble.
I think they'll be fine. Trying to keep them out of it for as long as possible.
It's a good call.
So it's about 8 p.m.
Is it time to head north? See if we can find it?
I think so.
Well, if we can't find it, we can at least investigate those caves, see if we can find its point of origin.
I agree.
After talking with everyone, I have a bit of a... I don't know if it's a strange thought, but if it's not remembering, but it's learning, or getting smarter, not necessarily learning, just getting smarter, and it seemingly goes incorporeal even without its desire, it seems almost like it's an aspect of something greater. Like, I don't know, some manifestation that it is sending out into the world to explore.
Seeing how things react?
Well, and that dizziness, possibly stealing intellect? Because it's not learning, but smarter, right? That goes with the fuzziness that everyone has.
They did mention fuzziness and short-term memory. So maybe there is something there.
Maybe. It almost sounded to me as if it was partially present in the Umbra, and part of it was stuck somewhere else, but still visible.
Well, I think that goes to Kyle's hypothesis, and I think that links there. It's emanating from somewhere, learning, and I mean, to me, in a lot of ways, it's taking on the forms of things that Garou would attach to being of the worm, right? Thoughts give form.
I do also wonder if it completely ignores everything that is living. There's not much in the Umbra besides us that's physical, I guess I should say, not living.
We're still part spiritual.
And there's no spirits to ask to see if those spirits that are disappearing were the ones that attacked first, or it was our mysterious one here.
Well, when we head up that way, we can talk to some that might have run away and lived. Or if we encounter it and we live, we can talk to ones that ran away then.
Seems like we'll find out more when we encounter it. Regardless.
Well, Heather said something. The sound of it crashing through the trees, through areas of the Umbra. Well, there's a spot we could talk to. We could talk to some of the tree spirits in the Umbra on that side, in that general area. If it's wreaked destruction and it's still there, and I should have asked her that, if it repairs or if it still remains, we could, again, investigate by those caves or look for evidence where it's busted through and talk to some of those that might have been affected, whether it's tree spirits on that side of their kin. Good thought.
We were pressed for time. We can follow up on that thought, definitely. No need to kick yourself.
Move toward danger.
So you start heading north in the Umbra. You notice several destroyed tree spirits, their bodies still littering the earth. Mark, Zeb, you know what this means in the physical world. The trees that were knocked over here in the spiritual will die and rot where they stand. There are several flower and grass spirits that are still around that have not been treaded upon, however, though you'll have to use the rite of spirit awakening to speak to them. And you would have to do the same for many of the trees throughout this part of the forest, as many of the spirits are asleep, as plant spirits tend to sleep for a long time before they awaken and gain sentience.
I have that right on needs to learn when goes back to Sacred Stone to complete Roy's Gias to the Korax, so I do not have it. Do you?
I do not have it, sir.
All right. We can command what is. We can't summon what ain't. Good. We didn't need information anyway. Face tank it is.
Well, maybe there's a nearby animal spirit we could talk to still.
It's a good idea. We'll just... Maybe something's returned and looking around. We'll have to do that, Keegan. If we can see any small spirits, whether they're mice, birds, otherwise, versus plant spirits that we can't awaken. We'll try that.
I believe what was their name? Mistwalker did state that they've been trying to gain favor with the Raven and Crow spirits. So you could always maybe try and contact one of them with the eyes in the sky.
Fair.
Okay. You do find some raven spirits as they are chatting between themselves.
Garou.
I will offer a gnosis in the form of shinies.
As it picks it up,
Ah.
as it claps its beak.
We're looking for what came through here and did this to the trees.
Shiny. That thing. Terrible. Second Garou to ask in so many days. Yes. The creature we're not sure of, not yet. But it brings with it sickness.
Sickness to your kin?
Sickness to anyone near it. It makes them dizzy. Birds who get too close, if it pierces the gauntlet, will actually get weak and fall from the sky. Some have broken their chests and their wings as they've fallen, surrounded by a miasma of sort.
Mark will take a gnosis and turn it into the form of sweet berries and give it to the raven spirit. When the spirit first showed up, the one that caused this, was it attacked first, or did it attack first? Did it lash out first?
Oh, it attacks. It's violent. Very violent. Oh, yes. Didn't another spirit talk of... Oh, yes. They talked of it. So long ago. Don't think it's the same spirit. No, not with it being in so many different places.
Says one.
Well.
What do you mean, so many different places?
Information for information? What do you know? Tell us secrets. Tell us your secrets, yes? Mm-hmm.
We've gone for 2 fucking years. We don't have any good secrets to tell. Damn it. I was trying to formulate what we say between whoever has spirit speech and I. I mean, we can offer up anything we've learned hypothesis-wise. If it gets spread by the core or by the Ravens, doesn't matter. It's an evil manifestation that I'd sooner stop. But just trying to think of what we offer up that they aren't like, yeah, I already know that. Thanks.
You could maybe tell them about Erebus. I mean, they might be interested. That's information that's not necessarily everywhere.
True.
Oh, yeah, like an actual physical description of what Erebus is like. Well, spiritual description.
Something we didn't know before. I will take a chance. I will tell you of a great beauty in Erebus, the land of redemption, the beautiful Sheris. For those redeemed, get a choice to go anywhere they desire and are delivered there without harm and without delay.
As the two raven spirits look at each other and go, "Oh,
It's nothing really. Canary spirits that we've heard other ravens speak to, as we trade our information, and our physical kin and our shifter kin speak of. Well, the canary spirits talk about how the two-legs would take them underground, and the canary spirits would watch their children grow dizzy and sick before falling and dying.
Sickness of miners going deep, and the gases being released that make them sick.
Gives you headache, makes you dizzy.
Headache, makes you forget where you are,
Buzzes the memory.
and kills birds. The mines are the right track.
The nice pun. But that would also make sense for its form as well, having like an almost smoke-like outer bit and a molten inner bit, like burning coal.
With Zoltan gas in the area, doing their exploratory excavating, possibly something was woken up from a time long ago. Possibly when the canary spirits were used.
Mines might get closed, but things can still come up on occasion. Could explain the frequency, especially if new tunnels have been opened and old ones are disturbed.
The Umbra ebb and flows like the ocean. Things will come, things will go. Things will come back with a torrent sometimes.
all right. It is 10 o'clock, or 8 o'clock. It'd be 10 if you got to the Sept, and about the same if you got to the caves. Are you willing to explore that late at night?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Sorry, not to volunteer, everyone.
I mean, would be a werewolf campaign if we didn't. No story started with, yeah, let's go back and take a nap.
You know what? We're gonna go back to Sacred Stone. This is pretty lame.
Yeah, we figured it out. Some sort of thing happening in the caves. All right, peace.
Good luck with your dark emergent darkness. Yeah. All right.
You start moving as you do see the entrance of the cave.
Can we see better in our lupus forms?
You can. You get a little better vision with low light, and you can smell, basically.
I'm gonna spend a gnosis for lambent sight.
That one, I don't have it.
You do not.
Don't.
You don't. I think we should all spend a gnosis for lambent sight.
Yes.
William's got his phone out, just like flashlight mode.
You motherfuckers!
Could
He's
I?
got a headlamp.
As all you hear is like, the glass walker needs a phone to see.
Could I combo lambent sight with scent of sight?
You can?
Okay. I'll go ahead and make the roll for scent of sight then. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna use scent of sight and see if I can find like a trail of where this spirit is coming from.
Yeah, that just means you get to see the place perfectly
Oh,
without
okay.
color. Yeah, sense of sight just means you see without color through just your scent. So you can move in pitch blackness.
Okay.
As you guys enter the cave, you get the distinct smell, though, Dimitri, of bat guano, as bats hang at the top of the cave. Moving through, though, and getting deeper here in the Umbra, you see something that has been lost to the physical world. This place clearly had importance. It is deeply remembered, and there are aspects of it that are not wholly natural, but they aren't anything of natural or of mining. There are things such as wood that has ashy smell to it. And you all notice a cave painting, likely ancient, beyond belief, and imbued with spiritual needs. The painting seems to depict a shadowy thing within a stone, and something is handing the stones to the people that lived here. The thing that is handing it off seems scratched off, though, as if erased from history in an attempt to be forgotten.
William, could you take pictures of these paintings here?
Sure, I can do that. Just start cataloging the pictures.
Can I make an intelligence occult roll?
Sure.
What's the difficulty going to be on that?
I'm gonna go 8.
And we could bring these pictures to the Sept, see if maybe one of the Galliards would know what this place was.
Mark, you have some theories. There's nothing concrete here, but what could be happening is a fetish of some kind, holding a Bane spirit or something else, is being given to these people to hide. The thing being scratched off could be anything, but you highly suspect at least that it is Garou, removed from the memory of the people due to the delirium, and that the image of the Krynos was dropped, and thus the painting that part of the painting lost its meaning to those who lived here during the Paleolithic period.
This is an ancient cave painting. From what I can tell from these depictions here, is that the guess of a primeval thing is a good route. But here it seems there's a fetish of some kind being handed off, possibly holding a Bane spirit. Maybe this is the spirit that is escaped from this fetish that is wandering these lands now.
I mean, the Uktena were known for Bane tending.
I couldn't say.
All of the brothers were known during. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they were known for Bane tending, and the brothers here keeping the Pure Lands safe.
Whether it was trapped within the fetish and is broken out, another possibility is the fetish is being used, and this explains the behavior of the creature, why it's so tangible but not there.
We heard something similar of an item we heard something similar during my challenge for Adrian, if you remember. We went in and we got this information from hunts from above, and it was about the notion of a Bane or a great, terrible, evil spirit.
I do remember.
Being bound inside of an item. Yep.
Being bound inside a weapon.
Correct. I mean, it could be something similar. Again, if that's pursuing the thread that this is something the Uktena would have done, or the brothers then, in an ancient time before they were known by that name, but did something similar. Maybe. According to what you've told us and the information that's here in the painting. Somebody broke something open they shouldn't. Because it was forgotten.
Things have faded away from memory here. Possibly because of the War of Rage. The delirium has struck humanity, and nothing was tended here. This picture wasn't kept up.
It feeds Kyle's thought then. Something that's an element of something else that's partially forgotten. It's old and terrible, but in the minds of most people, we've never seen it before. We don't know that it exists, and it's just barely there. But it gets a hold on people and learns by the things we're doing, like fighting it, and it learns how we fight. It becomes more substantial. It becomes more substantial because now we know what it is. Well, we don't know what it is, but we've seen it. We acknowledge it exists. I mean, which is this. That's the crazy thing namers do, right? They talk about making things appear and giving it a name, but it's almost like we're doing something similar.
It could very well be a trait of the fetish itself.
I was going to say it could be that because it's not been tended to, the prison that this Bane spirit has been locked away inside has been deteriorating.
Oh, 100%. Somebody didn't do their job and forgot.
This is true. If one does not tend to their fetishes, tend to the spirit of the fetish, then it will lash out. So it kind of seems like we're not searching for a spirit. We're looking for something. We're looking for something ancient, an old fetish.
something that's escaped its bounds. Whether it's a fetish or not, maybe.
Maybe.
As we go deeper in, it might very well be finding us.
Well, let's continue then.
As you move through the cave network, it starts to move about as you see spirits of poison, spirits of death, corrupted spirits of death hanging overhead in the hundreds, if not the thousands, crawling over. Most small, though there are some larger ones, as you see one of poison leak over as its face moves across the ripples of its flesh like water as it looks down, and you see the ear-to-ear grin as it opens out its mouth, and you see the miasma hang out, and all you hear is it kind of gutturally and like nails on a chalkboard go, "Pray," as the waves of spirits start to slow down, and you hear little ones, "Pray, pray, pray."
I think it's time to run.
I agree, let's go.
And so you run from the cave as your wings unfurl and you gracefully grab your companions and fly off into the night as you just hear the constant pray, pray, pray. But they follow you no further as they crawl back into their cave. It is about probably 1 or midnight at this point.
It's been an extremely long day and a long 2 years. I say we've shaken the rust off. We head back toward the cairn. Make sure we don't bring this thing any closer if it appears, but otherwise, rest and relay what we've found tomorrow.
It's much more information than we started with, and certain the Sept will appreciate it. Rest is a reward at this point.
Agreed. And it's possible that the Galliards of the Sept will know more about what we've discovered.
Our stories are old, so possibly.
And so, you guys flying back to the cairn first, or?
I'd say let's take the long way around. Let's take a scenic route, just in case it follows us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, is if this thing appears, we don't want to lead it right to the cairn.
That's
All
right.
Yep. We'll be on the lookout for that.
Doing your long flight, it's about another 3 hours. So it's about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. before you finally land. Your arms, even Krynos, feel like noodles carrying your companions as long as you have. Your back aches from flexing the wings.
I'd like to note that I napped during this. I feel
Cradled.
good.
You napped. Fantastic. So, you guys get back and you pass out almost instantly. Kyle, you find yourself standing on a mountainside. You're surrounded by the woods, forest, when you hear, almost on the wind, through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free. When you hear that, you then notice that it comes from the birds, as the birds are looking at you, and they repeat the poem. And then it's the deer, and the squirrels, and even the insects and the flies that buzz around you, as they once again repeat, through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free. And the sun seems to grow hotter. The world around you withers. You're sweating, regardless of where you stand in the shade. But the poem continues over and over as the heat begins to redden your skin, as you see the deer look at you, as it looks you right in the eyes, as its own melt and its fur ignites, and its skin peels back like crisping bacon. Through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free. A fly repeats the poem as well as its body bursts in a small burst of ichor before you finally awaken the next morning. Zeb, you find yourself in the desert, near a floating river, when you hear something, as you hear corruption of the water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracked and corruption within. You're not quite sure where it comes from before you see a rattlesnake slither out. Corruption of the water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracks and corruption within. More serpents begin to say that snake slithering up before you see a massive scorpion, the size of a building, walking overhead. It repeats the poem as well.
Corruption of water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracks and corruption within.
The great scorpion's mouth opens up, and you see a mosquito-like proboscis crafted out of the flesh of a human tongue as it drives itself into the earth, and its stinger enters the water and starts to gargle it up as you hear a horrid vomiting noise pushing into the earth as you hear its gurgled poem repeat.
Corruption of water poured into a well. The earth breaks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracks and corruption within.
As you see human teeth forming around the body as mouths open along the scorpion as it continues to repeat the chant over and over again, before beneath you hear Gaia scream and you awaken. Dimitri, you find yourself in a paper mill. An all too an unfortunate paper mill. You see people walking around, crafted, walking in jittered and almost broken motions. Their bodies are made of paper pulp, swimming and washing in clothes as they move flesh into the paper mill as you see sheets of skin pumped out with writing upon it. And you hear the same poem as Kyle.
Through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free.
You see a saw going as a tree is sliced outside, and you see its entrails hanging around it, withering with blood and guts as the bark pierces open, and you see the skeletal remains within as you see eyes form on the tree and its mouth opens up, sap forming its disfigured teeth.
Through darkness of a burning past, a beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free.
As it splits open, you see the shaved bones before the doors of the paper mill dramatically explode open, thrown open. As you see this woman, skinned, her flesh and fat laid bare, bloody body moving and shambling towards you as she repeats the poem. But upon closer inspection, you see patches of wolf fur hanging on her body as if she's trying to wear it, as she seems to move to you with a knowing look, a strange familiarity going. Through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free. The Talon will be free. The Talon will be free. And she shrieks in your face as blood and spittle strikes you and you awaken. Mark, you find yourself in the woods. A wolf stands over dead pups. The wolf looking down with a kind of sadness. One dead from exposure, another has an arrow in it, and yet another seems to be nothing but skin and bones. The wolf looks at you and seems to have a rusty patch like that of the red talons. Corruption of water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracked and corruption within. The wolf seems to continuously repeat this before you notice that the little mouths of the pups begin to repeat as well. Corruption of water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracks and corruption within. Before you see the great metal scorpion loom over you, its feet crashing into the trees, one striking the pups as they explode in a cacophony of gore. And the thing begins to repeat the same poem. Though you notice in the distance as trees start to fall in all directions, and the talon simply repeats, great pumps in the back, in the distance, on the horizon, as a river washes through the air and goes into the tail of the scorpion. The human tongue proboscis of a mosquito comes out and strikes the earth, the poem again and again and again, until the earth screams and cracks and rips open. William, you find yourself confronted by the young cyberdogs that were killed in the Purge. The young 16, 17, 18-year-olds. Their faces carved with fear and terror as they say, corruption of the water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracked and corruption within. As they seem to keep repeating it, their cybernetics actually fall off, revealing fresh, healed skin as the cybernetics grow little legs and they start to crawl on you before they become black ooze or gray ooze as you see eyes and mouths forming. Corruption of water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracked and corruption within as the ooze starts to form and bubble on you, jolting and sputtering as if it was a stop motion animated film. As you try and get them off, they splatter onto the background behind you, onto the desk, but everything's the same distance away. As you notice, you're just in a giant room painted of a perfect canvas of a building, of an office building, as you struggle and fight and rip it down. Corruption of the water poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracked and corruption within. Before you awaken. Cora, there are two shadows. They seem to be the shape of Krynos, holding something. Too large to be a regular baby, but clearly that of a metis. As they look at you and you hear them say,
"Through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free."
As you see the 3-foot tall baby being handed towards you, the shadow moving and shaking. The night sky is visible as the city lights of Colorado Springs on the hills of Sacred Stone seem to go out and die as the sky is filled with a beautiful tapestry of stars.
Through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free.
It would be beautiful, if not for the red tint that begins to fill the heavens, and the stars begin to fall. The shadowy Krynos, now even more insistent that you take it. Take it!
Through darkness of a burning past, the beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will break free.
As you see a great listless burning red eye open, giving only a faint red glow as all other lights die around you and the world screams away and you find yourself awakening. As all of you awake, you all scream and you hear the screams of everyone in the Sept.
Everyone all right? Ish?
Physically, I'm okay. I just had the craziest of dreams, and it sounds like everyone else did too.
Welcome to the Ill Omens, William.
Now I know why you're called Ill Omens. We're called Ill Omens.
Safe to say we're on to something.
Safe to say the entire Sept is onto something.
I guess we should start with what dreams we had.
Yeah. So
Well, sing along if you know the words. Corruption of the water, poured into a well. The earth drinks and ascends. The stone of quartz cracks, and corruption within. Anybody have that one on their dance card?
And then a giant scorpion with a giant tube tongue piercing the earth, sucking water from the sky.
And Gaia screaming in her final throes of death.
That one's new for me.
Icing on the cake.
not
Yeah.
mine.
What about yours, Cora?
Through darkness of a burning past.
The beast soon breaks free. One chance to save our world. The Talon will be free.
That's the one that I heard.
Being handed a baby as well?
No.
No?
Mine had a wolf overlooking 3 younglings, all of very depreciative states. One was literally starved in skin and bones.
No, I was being given a metis infant. And then that same red star that we seen quite a few times, Kyle, appeared.
I just watched the world heat up and everything upon it burn.
I was in front of a paper mill in a forest of trees made of human flesh.
Ew.
What of you, Matrices?
My dream was of the young Cleoth that were part of the Cyberdogs. And as the dream progressed through, their cybernetics would fall off and they would dissolve into me. And further into the dream, I realized that the room I was in was actually just an office building that was painted. So it's almost like a cubicle that was painted to look like an office, trapped. I think what we received is 2 parts to a whole.
Possibly. There may be more to it. Maybe we haven't had those visions. Maybe amongst us, those visions weren't shared.
I think breakfast is going to be very interesting.
As you eat around, you do find out that the Utenna are now calling an emergency moot for tonight to discuss plans, to discuss dreams, and to go forward. But we will find out how that goes next time. Thank you to everyone who listened. We'll catch you in that next episode. Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.